Hey everyone, how's it going today? Another Men Dogs video here, and today I'm joined by Nietzsche, and we're going to be talking about the ISO 8. So, Nietzsche, say hi to everyone.
Hey, Mendogs. Hey, everyone. Just recording from my home here. Very unexpected, so not the same setup as normal.
That's all right. It's all right. And definitely check out the MSF video that we do weekly. It's just hit podcast, so that's awesome. So ISO 8. So there was a post today. I've got it up there. It drops some information. Nothing specifically that we didn't know, because there was one that came out in June, I think it was. And then there's a 5-minute video here on the website, roughly going through this. Again, it's an interesting video, but nothing too integrated, I guess. Like, it's pretty much just what we're going to be talking about today. And clearly this is the more entertaining version. So before we kick into everything, what's your, because you're obviously a high-end level than I am, Nietzsche. What's your thoughts on ISO 8? Are you happy with it? Do you think it's a logical step?
So I think it's, something that's needed to help spice back up the game, give us some new theory crafting, because theory crafting, it's kind of dissipated as they keep adding teams, like specific teams, so there's a lot less of it. There are some concerns as someone who's already built up so many different characters. Are some of these characters going to be obsolete with other characters, making a big jump up because of these types of ISO 8s? Or is our Black Bolt, is our Taskmaster, are these people still going to be, top characters regardless across the board?
Probably.
Probably.
Probably. And this is why I got Nietzsche here. I will probably be doing a lot. So if you've come from Star Wars, I'm going to be comparing this a lot to mods, because that's kind of what it is. The good thing is, there's a couple of really good things that I like about it. One is the stat changes are fixed. There's no randomness involved. And there's no speed either, which I really like. Star Wars had the issue where it was adding speed. If it was a good speed, it was the best mod, and then it didn't matter what the rest was. So I'm pretty happy about it. Do you want to give us a quick rundown of what you think ISO 8, like the process of ISO 8 and stuff is?
Yeah, so I think, you're going to be farming them through campaigns. You'll get them through orbs. Once you acquire them, I believe you'll see here on the screen, you've got 5 different socket spaces. If I've got 5 1 tier or 1 level ISOs, then you combine them all. Oh, they all have to be of the same type too. So if you're going for, let's say, a healer class, then they all have to be of that healer type. Otherwise, you're only getting the stat boosts. And once you accumulate all of them at least 1 tier or 2 tier or 3 tier, you can upgrade to that tier of power for that class.
So we'll go into the different classes a bit. It's a bit later on the post of there's different. So the ISO 8, from my understanding, is all wrapped into, if I'm collecting something, it'll be all brawlers use this amount of ISO and stuff like that. You don't think is that how you see it, or are you seeing it something different?
No, I'm seeing it a little bit different.
Okay, cool.
I think it's really going to be character based. For example, Captain Marvel, I think, is going to be completely different than many of the other brawlers because of the damage that she does. I definitely think each character is going to have their own specific thing. She has very high health. So that health.
Sorry, I meant as in when you're collecting it, like the gear, that all brawlers will use the same ISO type. So it won't necessarily be you'll all just do health for all brawlers or damage, whatever. But as you're collecting it, I believe that the traits So brawler, controller, blaster, protector, and stuff use the same ISO type, I guess, and then that's where you branch off into different classes. Does that make sense? I think it talks it a little bit later. I could be wrong.
Well,
I could be wrong.
Yeah, let's look at that. I mean, because that might be a little bit new to me. I thought it was just each class had their own type, and then each slot was a boost to the stats.
I'm sure it'd be interesting, and we'll be doing probably another video tomorrow. But I like to speculate in case we're super right, and then it's like, look what we did. It's awesome.
Right?
It says create new team possibilities. How much have you actually seen ISO 8 actually affecting different team comps?
So I think in raids, it's going to have a huge effect. Mixing and matching some of these, the striker class and the raid class that we'll be discussing here shortly. In PvP, I think it's going to be interesting. PvP is my forte. And so I'm very curious. I have a feeling there's going to be a lot of defensive type, like your healer and your protector, in that, just to keep people alive. Because I don't, and I could be wrong, but I don't see the ones that are marking people as being a big game changer in PvP. But I could be wrong on that.
Before we go on to the classes, PvP is something that I'm interested in, especially with you, because every single time I see you on Twitch, and definitely give Nietzsche a follow if you're not already, and his details will be listed below. But do you think there'll be a new game mode? So obviously, Classic will have whatever ISO 8 stuff I've chosen. Do you think there'll be another game mode with ISO 8 attached to it with PvP? Because I can't imagine Balance doing this.
Yeah, so, and what I'm curious about, I don't know if you ever played World of Warcraft, but in World of Warcraft you had specialties. So you could pick, I want to be a tank, I want to be a healer, I want to be a damage person. From my understanding with ISOs is that you're going to be able to alternate between your different types at will without having to pay extra. You still have to have all the materials, equip them all.
Yep.
So I can have Captain Marvel here with 3 or 4 different types of classes. And so my guess is either with balance, they may introduce a balance type where you can actually select the class while you're making your team, or they just will eliminate it, or it will be based off of what you currently have on yours. But I don't think that would be as balanced if it was based off of what you have.
Yes, I do like the fact that you can change the classes. So what Nietzsche is saying there is the resources you put in a character you can't get back. So the example is, when you put gear onto, say, we'll use Captain Marvel. When you put gear into Captain Marvel, you can't take that off to chuck it on, say, Hela or something like that. So once you put the ISO 8 on it, it's on her, but you can change through the classes, which I think is really interesting, and I think that's a really good way that they went.
Yeah.
So we talked about how we're going to acquire them. It's through the campaign next to the Doom campaign, so in your main campaign. We also talked about that there's orbs. It unlocks at 55. How do you feel about having orbs, a new campaign with new energy, I should say? There is new energy to it, so it's not going to affect your normal farm stuff. And unlocking at 55. I just heard a lot of things, but what's your thoughts, Nietzsche, about all that?
So I think that is actually probably one of the best plans they could have done. If they were going to start starving us of our other energy resources, away from gear or away from something else, then the player base, I think, would have an issue with that. Adding a new campaign and adding a specific energy type for that campaign, like all these special events, I think was perfect choice there. supposedly the drops are going to be a little more consistent
Oh, really? I did
and
not know
more
that.
predictable.
That's
Well,
cool.
and more predictable. Like, and they were kind of talking about in the beginning, I believe, where I go for node 3,
Mm-hmm.
and I will get a ISO, but it's not a specific type. I think now you can actually farm for specific types of ISO. I could be wrong about that, but I
Ooh.
believe they made it so you can actually go for the ones that you're looking for.
So it.
Go ahead.
Oh, sorry. I was just gonna say I do like the level 55.
Mhm.
As they progress through the game, I think dropping this on a player that's just started too much and all. I think 45 is when War unlocks. 55 is now when this unlocks with Red Stars, I believe, and then 65 you got PvP. So I think it's a very nice progression where you're not overwhelming a new player. Yet it's
Mhm.
not so high that you have to be level 80, which is one of the concerns I did have, is that you'd have to be, at the end game to actually use this feature. So that's awesome. I didn't realize about the target in farming. I think that's amazing. For those of you who have come from Star Wars, you know that skin mods are just absolute trash. Um, Trying to farm them, so I think that should be really interesting. And you can see at the bottom there the 5 classes, because we kept referencing classes: Striker, Healer, Raider, Fortifier, and Skirmisher. Um, I'm pretty excited about those ones. We'll go into it a bit later. I believe it has it in the drop. So the ISO thing you can see on the screen, the main power that it's increasing is either health, damage, armor, resistance, or focus. And then we talked about the traits, which are different to the classes, which is Blaster, Brawler, Controller, Protector, and Support. And that's what I thought the crystals were specifically. So, the Blaster ISOs you'd be putting onto like Black Bolt and Punisher or whoever. So only those ones worked on Blaster characters. I could be wrong, but
No, I think you're right there. I think uh, you have specific ones that are designated to your blaster, your brawler, your protector, all that, and then within that, they have the striker, fortifier, healer, skirmisher, raider, and I think really the purpose of that
mm-hmm.
was because now you've taken 5 different classes, and you've now increased that to basically 25 different types of materials. So you can't just all farm one specific. So let's say striker is the best one. You can't just farm a million strikers. If you want striker for your black bolt, you're going to have to farm striker blaster. So
Yes. Limited
I
just
think
a
that's the
little.
purpose of that.
I don't know if you. On the screen there, we've got a picture of the campaign. Requires only global characters. So I didn't think there'd be a limit to who you could take, but that's interesting to say only global characters. So make sure you get those global characters at least for, what is it, Isotope 1.6. So that's fairly early into the campaign.
Yeah, I think they're going to be doing that throughout the campaign. Different requirements, trait
Mm-hmm.
requirements.
So we've got the 5 classes: Striker, Fortifier, Healer, Skirmisher, and Raider. We've got the Striker, and I believe down below sort of shows it through. Otherwise, it's in the video above. Striker on primary hit, if the target is vulnerable, which is a new debuff coming out. Make an ISO bonus attack at 50% damage, then clear 1 vulnerable. This attack is based on the character's basic. That sounds pretty good for Black Bolt. Sounds like he's going to be going a lot.
It does. However, then you gotta also sit here and think about, okay, so like, and this is where that theory crafting comes in to
Mm-hmm.
play. Having skirmisher on Black Bolt. I think skirmisher, when he crits, he puts up vulnerable. So you get a crit off on his ultimate, and now you've got a bunch of vulnerables up on your enemy team.
Mm.
And then you're getting all kinds of bonus attacks and attacks from other people. It's gonna be pretty. It's gonna be very, very interesting.
I'm looking forward to the theory craft. The good thing is, I think one thing that they've done very well is the fact that you can swap between classes, so you're not going like, oh man, I chose Striker for Captain Marvel, but Protector was the best choice, and now I've wasted resources, so I like that. Quick rundown, Striker is the one that obviously does that bonus hit. Fortifier does a self protection on the character. Healer heals the lowest health character. Skirmisher, when crits, does the vulnerable. And do you remember what Raider does?
Raider increases your crit chance, I believe.
Yeah. So
or
I
crit
think
damage.
so
I think it's crit chance.
Could be crit chance. And then we've got the orbs, which it looks like we're going to be able to find them. Upgrading classes cost basic ions, which are found in campaign nodes in the basic ion orb and daily objectives. So it seems like, so from what I've heard, is it's going to take us a month without spending money to upgrade a character to max. Just one character. Now, I'm sure it will speed up eventually. In 1 year's time, I don't think it's going to take a month to do one character. Do you think it's going to be important to get, like, say, 5 characters maxed out? Or do you think it's going to be good to get majority of the roster you're using? So probably, focusing on, like, either Raid, Arena, and War. What's your plan of attack going into it?
My plan is always, go for my main raid team. Because typically you can do most everything with one team. You might throw in some variations, but hit my raid team. That's going to be most effective. Plus, obviously, anyone on your raid team may or may not be on your arena team, but I believe, at least 2 or 3 of mine are.
Yeah.
And then you do, and they'll be helpful in war as well. Anything you do is going to be helpful in war. So for me, war is that third, fourth thing on the line that I go for. So it'd be raid, arena. For me, PvP. But that's literally the worst decision for you to make. But
I don't know how much this is going to affect PvP. At least our tournament season, I guess. But
well, I think adding a lot of survivability, I think that protector one's going to be pretty crucial for certain people. And same with that healing one. The other 3, I'm not sure yet. I don't think crit's going to be big. Vulnerability, I'm wondering if focus or resistance come into play there.
There is a couple of characters
at all.
I'm thinking of with the crit that it could actually be pretty good. I think Killmonger increases. A lot of the mercs have that added benefit to it. There you go. So classes interact with vulnerability in different ways. So remember how we're talking about that vulnerability. Strikers enhance attacks and gain extra attack on vulnerable enemies. Fortifiers protect themselves with a barrier. Healers at the beginning of their turn heal low health ally. Skirmishers create openings by applying vulnerable to enemies, and raiders critically hit more frequently. There you go. Yeah, so increases the crit chance, and can apply vulnerability as well. So I'm looking forward to it. I think we'll do more. We'll do more testing, obviously, tomorrow when it comes out. Whales are it's going to be expensive at the start. You can buy your way through it, right? But I don't think you'll be versing too many people that aren't not spending. Do you have anything else to say at the end, bro?
Not really. I mean, I'm just excited to see how this goes tomorrow. Hoping to not have too many Scopely bugs, and not have a big delay on the maintenance.
Yeah, it kicks off tomorrow at 12. So we're going to be dropping this video within the next hour or something. So anyway, guys, thanks very much, and hope you found this interesting. Thanks, Nietzsche, for jumping on, and definitely check him out if you want to do some PvP. He's the PvP tournament champion. All right, guys, take it easy. Cheers.
See ya.